So I think there's just, as we know, a huge amount of debt, both at sovereign level and on a business level and individual level around the world, and that debt's in USD. So in a simplified term, if US dollar's going up, not much else can, because that debt's going up in real terms, even if it's staying the same in nominal terms. And the only other time we've really had this level of debt was post-World War II, and we know the playbook to that, which you guys will all know well, was to introduce yield curve control and repay the debt through inflating it away. And there's not really many options when debt gets to these sorts of levels. You can either stop spending money on entitlements, you can default, you can create some sort of huge productivity innovation, like free energy for all, just miraculously. So those three feel like they're unlikely to happen to me. Certainly if politicians want to get elected, or if you don't have a magician it's going to pop up somewhere. And so the only real option is to inflate away the debt. And
that's it.
So that seems to be, it'll be the playbook, but if you do that too quickly, you lose the treasury market. And that's really what we've seen. They pump too much stimulus into an economy with tight supply chains. And rather than inflating away the debt at 4 or 5% a year, inflation pushed towards double digits. And that was quick enough for investors around the world to feel that they were a frog in boiling water instead of just a frog in a bath. And the central bankers didn't want them to jump out of the pot. So they're talking tough and have started to get on top of inflation. But with this much debt, deflation's horrendous. That's Great Depression. And too much inflation and high interest rates on the debt is no good either, because people can't afford to pay them. So they're really trying to walk on a tightrope. And I think whether the ultimate end game is yield curve control, I think we're going to have negative real yields in interest rates for a long time to come. I just don't see there's another option. So I guess that's really how I'm positioned. I think most investors in equity land either have to make a call if they believe the period of the last 10 or 15 years where FANG stocks have been dominant is coming back, and this is a buy the dip opportunity, or if we've seen a change of leadership and low PE stocks and real asset stocks are going to take over that leadership position. I'm in the latter. I think that's what we're going to get. I don't think we're just going back to what's worked the last, 10 to 15 years, but I could be wrong. Remain flexible in my views, but that's how I'm positioned. So there's a lot of commodity stocks in the portfolio currently. We're doing some work on some financials, which we haven't pulled the trigger on yet. We're doing some work on some healthcare stocks, which we haven't put the trigger on. And I guess if I'm not great at short-term predictions, we're a bit more longer term than that. But gun to my head, I think, we had a great CPI print for investors overnight when inflation looks like it rolled over and owners' equivalent rent was still up. And we know that's a lagging indicator. So it really was a really positive print. Inflation's not rolling over because the economy's going well.
Yeah.
It's a sign. It's both a sign that the Fed can stimulate sooner if they need to, if inflation gets crunched right down, but it's also a sign that things are softening. So I think, one of the reasons we're launching the fund in March is we think we could get a technical rally at the end of the year and maybe some softness after that. So that's what we're positioned for, but we're pretty flexible.